everybody, and welcome back to the Law of Attraction Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Graziano, and today we have intuition. We have, which is another version of saying intuition, don't you like that? In the studio, we have a very powerful witch, a white witch, a lady who has gone far beyond the realms of earth and plays with alchemy. She's known as an alchemist. Mia Magik is a best-selling author. She teaches about the rage ritual, which went viral on social media recently with hundreds of millions of views. Rage ritual, yes. If you want to get rid of anger, this is the place to be today. Maybe you don't even know you've got anger. Like I was one of those people. I was like, no, I'm perfect. And then I realized, oh no, I have some rage inside of me. Today we're going to dive into all things magic, all things intuition, manifesting your dreams, being at one with Mother Nature, and so many more things. Welcome to the show, Mia Magik.
Thanks, Queen. So good to be here.
So happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I walk into my studio and she's cooking on the stove I didn't even know we have. And I was like, yum. I love this woman already. Like the fact that she's so at one with nature. And like, don't you live in a forest?
I do live in a forest. I'm from a forest. I'm from a redwood forest, and I live in an oak forest in Topanga Canyon.
God, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. And you just ground every day? What's your like ritual in this magic ritual?
Yeah, I just sitting beneath them. I do a lot of singing and dancing and just being in my body and, naked sunbathing by the pool, just a lot of being there, I think that's the most important lesson we learn from nature is you don't have to do anything. It's just about being.
Right. I'm the same. Like I wake up and I'm like naked all the time. And people are like, oh my God, put clothes on. I'm like, no. Like right before we started, sorry for the explicit nature of this conversation, but like,
I loved it.
I've just given birth, as you lot know, and like, you're sitting here and I was like, oh my God, my tits are about to fucking milk out baby milk. Yeah. I was like, I need tissue. And like, all of a sudden I'm like dealing with milk going everywhere.
Yeah, I got to watch the sweet little droplets just come right out from you. I'm like, this is the goddess. This is it. Like, this is Mother Nature right here.
Literally, isn't it? I love it. We've had a whole experience of that today.
Like, that was a bonding moment.
Massive bonding moment. So like, I love that about you. And yeah, we're going to get into your book in a minute because this is very powerful. I can already feel like the energy coming off this book. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what are things that you've learned to apply with magic and how did you even find this gift?
I was one of those little girls that wanted to live in a magical world. I read lots of fantasy and fairy tales and watched all the Disney movies. And, society tells us not to believe in fairy tales, but fairy tales actually, one, are the way that magic was safeguarded throughout generations. So during the witch trials and the witch hunts and when the church and the patriarchy were taking over, fairy tales were a way that we kept our magic alive. It was how we taught children about our innate powers and our gifts and what's possible, the kind of potential that we actually have when we use these universal laws to our benefit. And so I discovered magic as a little girl, and then really it was the fact that it didn't show up in my life as a grown-up. The older I would get, the more kind of disillusioned we become and see how adults respond to things and like how not magical the world is in a lot of ways. And that was just so disappointing that eventually I couldn't. It's like, I don't believe this. I can't subscribe to this. This is not my reality. I want to live the way that my favorite heroines did in my books as a little girl. And so I just started cultivating magic and dove into my spiritual path. And it started with some of the kind of standard things, yoga and meditation and spending time in nature, going back to the redwood forest where I grew up and hanging out in the trees with my dad and having some really profound, transcendent, psychedelic experiences in nature, but being totally sober and being really, really surprised by that. And then for me, and with this book and using magic, I have found, we're both such law of attraction little babes, but I learned about the law of correspondence. And so in the Kybalion that shares about the law of attraction, there are 12 universal laws.
It's always the number 12. 12 is a very significant number in the world. 12 disciples, 12 months of the year, 12 numbers in the clock, etc. Like, it's a very powerful number. So,
and it originally used to be 13 because 13 is the number of moon cycles in a year.
Right.
And the church changed everything. That's why there were originally 13 zodiac signs, 13 months. because they are these 13 moons, that's where we even get the word month, is from the moon and her cycle. And Mary Magdalene was the 13th disciple, Jesus's wife and spiritual counterpart, who he's like doing all the cool sex magic with. And so I got really deeply into the law of correspondence that states as above, so below, and as within, so without. And I realized that there was this language that the universe was speaking to me and communicating with me. And so, okay, if I see this bird, right, you know, throughout every major ancient civilization and tradition, every animal that you saw had meaning. It had a message for you. It was offering you some insight. Same with the colors and the elements, like, oh, the trees are moving this way or the winds are blowing here. You know, you can feel the winds of change pick up around you when you're in a transitional phase. And so my first real experience of reconnecting with God was feeling the universe around me communicate with me through wind and sun and trees. And it was God being like, hello, I've always been here. I've been just waiting for you to come back to me and to come home to me. And once that occurred, I realized, like, wait a second, all these elements around me too, like, here's the earth, even like seeing the milk coming out of you, like, these are the waters within us. These are the rivers, are the blood in our veins. Like, we are made of these same elements. The fire is the electricity that's making our hearts beat and our neurons fire in our brains, and then we're breathing in the wind that the trees make for us in every moment. And I started realizing, okay, this as above so below is not just some little, you know, silly statement. It's 100% real, and we can work with these elements. We can work with the earth to manifest abundance and health and partnership, and we can work with the air to change our minds and empower our communication, and we can work with the waters in our sexuality and our creations and our motherhood and what we birth into the world. And it changed everything for me.
So powerful. It was only yesterday, I was watching this reel on Instagram that Greg Braden was speaking about. I think it was Greg. And he was talking about how the DNA in our body and every code amongst the atoms, etc., always breaks down to a numerology which is directly translated into letters, and it's the same in every single culture, in every single biblical ancient text, the same in the body, the same everywhere. It's incredible. Every single thing is broken down to, and it breaks down to, God is eternal within us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it spells out this same thing. So it just shows we are, as you're talking about, the milk of earth, the rivers in our veins. We are meant to be. We are that.
Yeah.
We are, I am that I am.
Exactly.
Like, God is everywhere through us, but it's the energy. If you want to call it a different word other than God, it's energy.
Creation.
It's eternal through us. And so, of course, you see miracles happen. Of course, people are tapping into millions and millions and billions and trillions of dollars. They've cracked the code.
Yeah.
Some people have the most amazing luck. They've cracked the code.
Yeah.
Some people, they've cracked the code. Like, how much do you want to play with it? I love this. It's a game of life. Every day I'm like, how much more money can I make? How many more amazing things can I do? I mean, I walked in and there was a funny joke. You know, one of my clients accidentally sent me 500,000 this morning versus 50,000. But that was a great little fun game that I had obviously played.
Yeah.
You know, just playing, saying, hey, I want another million today. I want another 500,000 today. Like, I love playing with numbers like that. How big can we get? Like, I want to, fall in love. Show me my soulmate now.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have a baby. Let's do it now. I want to, all these different elements and things. And like with nature, look at the abundance around us. As we walk through nature, look at the trees. Look at the abundance on the trees. That is just a replication telling you, you can have it too. If you can see it on the outside, you can have it here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially during this season, you know, fall, autumn is showing us that what we let go of and what we allow to fall away actually just fuels and feeds us in the future. It's like all those leaves, that's what becomes the really rich, dark, black gold of the soil that allows the trees to be deeply nourished. And I'm sure you'll love this one because, like, you know, the typical definition of humility, it's like, oh, humble yourself before God, like, be small. And I don't buy that.
No,
and the
I don't think many people do.
Well, many people do, but
not the right people in this who aren't spiritually fucking handicapped. The people who aren't spiritually handicapped, who are listening to the show, who want to go further, they're recognizing they don't need to be humble.
No. And the original definition of the word humility comes from the humus of that soil. It's like what you let go of, what you allow to fall away, relationships, old belief systems, old patterns, like old versions of yourself. Everything that you allow to fall away is then what supports your growth and who you're meant to become. And that's where we get the word humility. It's about the compost. It's about the alchemy. It's about letting that shit go so that you can rise.
Okay, you talk about learning. This is so fucking good. You talk about learning to speak the language of the universe and reclaim your inner magic. So effectively, if you get into alignment with the universe and speak the magic of the right language to the universe, you'll have all these goodies in return.
100%.
Let's go into that.
So that's what's really fun about using the law of correspondence and the law of attraction together, right? Okay, I want to attract, maybe it's partnership, maybe it's a new job. So you can build an altar and speak to the universe literally just by setting something up on a windowsill or on your mantle, right? Okay, what are the colors? Like the reason why the cover of the book is these colors is because these are like my abundance colors. Turquoise, green, gold, those are my favorite colors. Those are the colors that I have used in like accent pillows and blankets and frames of art or paintings in my home to call in abundance. And so when you want something in particular, if you look at it through these two amazing manifestation laws of the universe, like they're not just, oh, cute law of attraction. No, this is how the universe works. And so, okay, I want money. So I'm going to choose the colors and the symbols. Here's this like chalice or cauldron. I'm going to put this on my altar. And oh, I have this statue of a swan, and the swan is so elegant and represents beauty to me. So I'm going to put the swan here. Or, oh, I'm manifesting partnership. So I'm going to look at, I want a masculine partner. So I'm going to look at my relationship to my own masculine side. How well structured am I? What's my discipline like? Am I acting on purpose? Am I really in inspired action, right? Because the feminine can be receptive, but that masculine part, like we have to take action. You have to do the things, you have to move forward. And so you get to really look at, okay, who do I want to be in my masculine side in order to then attract that into my life? And that's this language that the universe is speaking to us at all times. It's in the star signs, it's in the astrology, it's in the symbolism, right? Even just seeing, like with you with your top. So when I look at that color, I'm like, okay, cool. This is not yellow and it's not green, it's both. So yellow is the color of our solar plexus, of our power, right? It's that shining sun within us, but then it's green also, and it's the color of our heart chakra and of the abundance of nature. And when we bring those two things together, it's like my abundance is fueled by true radiant power. Or I am generating power through my breath and through my heart and through my love of life. And even just something as simple as the color of a shirt creates this symbolic significance and way of communicating from the universe. So then you can do it in turn. You're like, hey, universe, today I want to feel really powerful, and red makes me feel powerful, which like has been proven time and time again in interviews and different opportunities where when people wear red, they feel that sense of power. If you want to be healing your throat chakra, maybe it's about putting blue around, using blue crystals. So if you're working on your expression and you want to heal your throat chakra, maybe you're writing a book or you're creating a new course, you have some new speaking engagement that you want. And even though the fifth chakra is the chakra of vibration, you can use the blue colors in the water and that flow to create a really smooth and fluid experience with your voice. So it's all about how do we work with, how do I become the mountain? How do I stand tall like the tree? How do I, allow the clouds in my mind or the things that fog up my experience or my vision to just move through like the way that they would blow across an afternoon sky.
So is it like when something irritates me and I say to myself, water off the bird's wing?
Love that.
Water off the bird's wing. Because if you watch, when water goes onto a bird's wing, it drips right off, hence that they don't fucking drown in the sky.
Yep.
They can keep flying because it's water off the bird's wing. It just drips right off.
Exactly.
Is that exactly the same with...
Yeah, so that's you using and saying to the universe, I am invoking that spirit of that bird, of the capacity to let those things, and water, again, is the element of our emotion. So it's usually you're like, oh, I'm pissed about something. No, I'm going to let this anger or this frustration just roll right off of my wings. And, if that doesn't work with the invocation, then you can do a rage ritual.
Let's go there. Tell me about the rage ritual right now. Like, okay, I've got anger inside me, or I'm someone who's like fucking mad at the world. What do I do? Like, how do I get rid of it without punching something, breaking someone's face? Like, what do I do?
Well, I think you and I both really agree on doing the work and understanding that anger it's a reactive emotion. So a boundary has been crossed, an abuse has occurred, someone has like come into my space in a way that's non-consensual, and I'm frustrated. A lot of times anger is it's a trauma response. We're frustrated by something that happened to us in childhood, and we're in a reactive state. But in our grown-up doing the work kind of experience, a rage ritual is really, it should be called a release ritual. It's for grief, it's for pain, it's for sadness, it's for any of us who've had traumatic childhoods or had any kind of abuse or neglect or molestation, that we never got to stand up for ourselves. We never got to say no. We never had the opportunity to fight back. And the rage ritual is a really beautiful moment to just go full in a completely safe space, even though the internet said that it was like, oh, they're just hanging out in the woods. I'm like, yeah, the 2,000 acres of private woodlands on the Scottish estate where the retreat is being held. It's not like in a park somewhere, but we go out into a beautiful part of nature because, again, she teaches us about that alchemy, what we let go of. And I like to call them the rage wands. They're giant sticks, and we just beat the shit out of the ground as hard and as deep as we can in order to somatically release some of these emotions that we've never had access to. A lot of the times women are not allowed to get angry, or you don't want to rage at your partner or your kids, but you want to get the emotion out. You want to release it. And so the rage ritual is such a beautiful moment to come together in sisterhood. Then you're not alone in your emotions. We often really feel alone in our experience. You're not alone. You're with other people side by side, fighting against the ways that we've all been suppressed or oppressed. And so it's so fun, it's so beautiful, and it is, it's like the space that we create on the other side. When you liberate all of that energy that's been stuck, maybe it's towards your dad, maybe it's towards a former abusive partner, maybe it's towards like an uncle or someone who harmed you as a child, maybe it's towards a pastor, a preacher, a teacher, anyone who negatively impacted your mindset, your belief system, informed your own identity in some way. It's an opportunity to say any of the words that you weren't allowed to say, or to feel the feelings that everyone told you not to feel, and you need to just be quiet and be a good girl. And those are the kinds of things that lead to disease and lead to, autoimmune conditions and massive imbalance in our physical, spiritual, and mental bodies. And so when we can really get into the catharsis and allow it to move through, studies have shown, you look at the Mayo Clinic, Yale, Johns Hopkins, NYU, all these really reputable medical institutions are showing, and people like Gabor Mate and Bassel van der Kolk who study trauma are really proving that when you, instead of experiencing anger or frustration in a low-grade way on a daily basis, if you go all the way in and really give yourself to that moment with full presence, you transform that DNA. You rewire, you alter your genetic coding and material in order to be able to have more resilience in challenging situations and be able to fill that space with more joy and love and abundance.
This is what I find really interesting as well, because people who think, and I was one of them, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. Yeah. I feel really good. I'm in a great place. I've worked through it. I'm happy. Underneath that is a little girl inside of you screaming, going, get me the fuck out of this.
Help me.
Help me. And I only realized that through doing my own rage therapy. Yeah. I only realized that recently, sitting down with my doctor going, how do I release this? I needed to get it out, but I didn't know that it was even there, because he was like, how are you? And I was like, I'm great. He's like, okay, we're not going to be able to work together unless you're honest. And I was like, what? He was like, stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Take me through something that you went through. And I was like, okay, I don't know. This is coming to mind. And then boom.
Wow. Beautiful.
I just read in your book here as well, Nature Talks, the same way our body speaks to us through pain or disease, so too does the body of the earth. There is always a multidimensional message. Let's lean into that, how you just tapped it anyway. You just said, we get these issues. I personally have had 3 autoimmune issues.
Yeah.
And I'm only realizing it's because of the stored anger that I had in my body that these things have occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to keep working on myself to release them, to get rid of this shame, the guilt, the anger, the resentment, so that I don't keep having these reoccurring autoimmune diseases.
Yeah, and auto means self, and obviously our immune system is what keeps us healthy. Mm-hmm. So it's the self attacking its own health.
Yeah.
And we have that, and I just got full chills thinking about it. What happens is that if you're telling that little girl, you say it to the outside world, oh, I'm fine, everything's great, yep, I'm good. You're telling that little girl who's hurting, who's sad, who's asking for help, you don't deserve my help. I'm not paying attention to you. You're not valuable enough to listen to. And so then we become the abusers to our inner child. We allow ourselves to be the ones that are telling her, like, no, you can't cry right now. No, you can't be sad. No, you can't stand up for yourself. And we abuse our inner children. And so then again, the self, right? The higher self, the lower self, all of these elements of who we are starts to turn on us because we're creating a lack of emotional safety within our bodies. And we're perpetuating this story. Oh, you're not allowed to be big. You're not allowed to be sad. You're not allowed to be too happy. You know, you just need to stay down. And then our body starts attacking us because we are creating that lack of safety. And so I have found, I've worked with so many people with autoimmune, and one of the really deep ways that we go into it is through the inner child. What's the part of me that's attacking myself? Am I attacking my body and saying that, you know, I'm ugly, or I'm too fat, or I'm too thin, or I'm not pretty enough, or whatever it is? Or am I attacking my finances? Oh, money is so hard to make, like I'll never get there, and like it's so hard, and you know, success is, you know, it's lonely at the top, right? We're always creating these stories and these narratives, and the ones that we attach onto most that are, again, like different from that original innocence, that version of us who believes in the fairy tales and the magic, the farther we get from true mental, physical, spiritual health. And it's that pathway back to be authentic and be honest with ourselves. You know, rage is usually, men have deeper access to rage, and what's underneath is sadness, and women are the opposite. Like, we can cry, we can feel our tears, but what's underneath is rage. And some of us, it's just numbness, right? It's just a shield of armor or a fortress trying to protect us in some way and not allow us to experience any of those emotions. And when you can crack through that wall and break down that barrier and say, oh, actually, here is this thing that's coming up. Here's this memory of something that I experienced. Oh, my little girl just needs to be held. She just needs to be heard. She just needs me to be there the way that Nyla does, the way that your son does. Like, children just need us to be there and to listen to them. And every single person on this earth is walking around with a little broken child inside of themselves. And when we can take the time to offer them the care that they need, maybe it is just to be listened to. Maybe it's to be played with, right? Like, maybe it is to just like have fun and be naked and be free and not say, oh no, there's something wrong with your body. You need to put clothes on. You're a bad girl. That's what allows us to heal.
So fucking beautiful the way you express it, and I know you're right firsthand, because when I had my bloods done, because this is going on a deeper level, when I had my bloods done, I had a layer of way too much iron that wasn't picked up by a normal doctor. It was picked up when we went deeper and did an analysis on my body. I have way too much iron in my body, which is literally building a fortress and armor around me to protect myself from attacking myself, which was causing the autoimmune. This literally just happened after I gave birth.
Wow.
It was wild. And I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness, I have so much to release. So I'm spending every single day in deep personal therapy, like deep healing, looking at what I've pushed away, what I've done wrong in my body, what's going on, and all of these things. And I'm realizing it's small things.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not always the massive things. It's small things.
Yeah, it's the daily basis choices.
The things. Okay, going into intuition.
Yeah.
I love intuition because it's something we all have. And people say, well, your intuition's amazing, so's yours. Everybody has amazing intuition.
For sure.
Talk about how you can tap into your intuition. Because what does that even mean?
Well, because witch means wise. It's about our wisdom, right? Everyone does have intuition, but so many of us have been taught to ignore it. That's another part of the things that cause autoimmune. Oh, I hear this voice inside of me, this call to be something, to go somewhere, to try something. And your parents or your teachers or your peers say like, oh no, that's stupid. Don't try that. Like, that's a horrible idea. You're going to fail. You definitely should not do that. But your intuition is saying that you should. And so when we change knowledge, which is conceptual, right, mind-based, into wisdom or the witch, that is embodied. It's like, oh, I've learned, right? I'm sure, my body was telling me in my last relationship, I was getting UTIs, I was getting all these crazy rashes. Like, my body was saying, this isn't working for me. This is not right. I'm not safe here. Did I listen? No, I totally ignored it. So now, when I'm moving forward in my partnership now, anytime something comes up in my body, I'm immediately listening. I know, oh, she's communicating with me. She's got something to say, and I want to make sure to keep her safe. That's wisdom. If it's just knowledge, oh, the body communicates to us. Cool, that's conceptual. You can ignore that. But your intuition, to me, the difference is hearing versus listening. It's like, okay, yeah, I hear that I should go left, but am I actually going to do it? GPS says go right. I hear that I should, talk to this person, but oh, I'm afraid and like I don't want to. And then later I found out that that's exactly the kind of person that, is holding the keys to the next level of my life, but I was too afraid to talk to them. And so for me, I love using nature. I think going out without our phones, having quiet time with the earth is one of the best ways. Not only does it lower your stress hormones, cortisol, regulate your heart rate, lower blood pressure. Like there's so many physical benefits to spending time in nature, but everything that occurs that is amplifying your immune system, your body's ability to keep itself healthy, you just quiet and all the other shit falls away. And so my favorite way to connect with my intuition is to go and be out in nature and listen to the trees and the winds and the waters and to, swim in wild creeks and streams and feel again like, oh, this is me. I am these mountains and I am these rivers and I am this wind and I am this sunlight, this brilliant, shining, luminous energy. How is that guiding me right now? What is it asking of me? What do I need to do in order to become a healthier, happier, more empowered version of myself? And then once you know that, again, like that's the secret. It's like you just keep following that. And when you feel yourself get out of alignment, or when your body sends a sign or a signal, or when like the synchronicities and the universe is like, hey, pay attention, like pointing to this, like look over here. Okay, wait, I need to get myself back in alignment. And it's the wisdom to know the difference.
I like that. When red symbols hit you, like a red light, alarm, alert, it's saying, honey, you're going in the wrong direction. When a red light, a message, the alert bell hits you, it's like U-turn.
Yeah.
Go in another direction, whether it's a physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual alarm.
Yeah.
There is an alarm going off and you're going in the wrong direction. You've got to realize it. But so many people don't realize that's their intuition talking to them.
Totally.
Through their body, through that sign, through you're walking down the street and you see a sign that says something in particular. Why did I just see that? Or you suddenly hear this message that comes to you. Like when I was in my darkest point, when I was at rock bottom, crying in pain every day, suffering, a single mom, hundreds of thousands of debts, still overcoming the illness I was facing, I was like, how do I get out of here? And I heard the voice that said, you're going to be a motivational speaker and you're going to help people. And it was in that moment that I knew, I'm going to be okay. But wait, what? Me?
Yeah.
A motivational speaker? How the fuck am I going to be able to use my voice when I've got my whole throat chakra blocked right now with the autoimmune of an overactive thyroid that I have, hypothyroidism. And I was like, that's where the problem is, but you're telling me I've got to use it? It was like the exact polar opposite that healed me. Me then focusing on being this new person, redesigning the version of me that I was, becoming the architect of my life and going, okay, I'm going to be her. But I've never been on stage.
Wow.
I'd never even spoken to an audience.
Wow.
But I knew this was the rebirth.
Yeah.
And I was going to become her.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I started to become her that day. I started watching preachers and speakers and people who inspired me on the internet. I just literally typed in motivational speech and I was watching Denzel Washington. The tears are streaming down my face. I'm like, I can do this one day. And I believed it.
Yeah.
And from that day forwards, I got 1% better.
That's amazing.
And from that day forwards, I started to believe that I was going to be someone who was going to be a role model for more than just myself. I was going to be a role model for my son.
Yeah.
I was going to be a role model for somebody else in the world, and I was going to be a motivational speaker. And I became her.
Yes, Queen, you did. That's amazing.
When was your story of all these people you helped born? Like, how did you know, I need to not just do this magic for myself? I need to bring in people into my environment. And like you're doing with these retreats, you host these amazing places and safe space for people to let go and grow.
Yeah. You know, I was in a really bad accident when I was 16, so I almost lost my arm. When I was 16, I almost became an amputee. And for me, it was really a moment of seeing... Same deal. It was like, I got the message. Oh, I'm meant to do something bigger and better, and I'm meant to help other people heal, and I'm meant to create change. And, you know, even we're talking about the signs and the signals that you see, even sometimes the actual literal signs on the street. And that's why I wear this earring and work with the owls, is because owls see through the darkness.
Love this.
They soar through the darkness. They are unafraid of the shadow. And I think it is those dark nights and those low rock bottom moments that are what allow us to surrender fully and say, okay, like, God, Goddess, universe, use me, take me. I will do whatever it is that you have for me. And for me, it was actually like the opposite. Instead of it coming the way that you did, where you were like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. It was the people that came to me. I was just doing it for myself. I was doing my own healing, and people started coming to me and saying, you've changed. You're different. Help me. I want to be like that. I want to do something different. I want to find magic in my life. And my mantra was like, I just want to get paid to be myself. I just want to be myself. That's what I want. I want to feel safe to be authentic and be who I am. I am this like wild, feral, like witchy, you know, I'd usually be the one with my tits out at the beginning of the at the beginning of the podcast, you know, like I want to be safe to just be myself.
I love that.
And I made that was my North Star. And then I just started seeking it, and it started happening. And yeah, now we do these epic retreats in castles in Scotland and in England and Ireland. And now we're going up to the Redwoods next week. And yeah, getting to just really support people finding their magic and their unique connection to God and whatever their mission, their divinely designed destiny is. And it's been such a gift. And then I get to have amazing conversations with people like you and just support others finding that perfect and purposeful path for themselves.
How do they sign up? Someone right now is probably like, I want to go. Like, I want to go. How do they?
I'm like, you gotta come, girl. I'll blow your mind.
Yes.
Like, you got some childish shit stuff to deal with. Like, let's go.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, everything is Mia Magik, MiaMagik. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, website, everything is under Mia Magik. And yeah, we have epic retreats coming up in 2025. And I have my second book comes out in October. And yeah, all the magic all the time.
Okay, I've written it down. I've added it in, girl. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't wait. If you guys want to sign up for one of her amazing retreats, the link is below. The book is also below. We love it. Intuition. Make sure we add that, Natasha, baby, to our notes. We want this. Babe, you've been amazing.
Yeah,
I have
thanks,
loved every minute with you. I want to come and join one of your retreats. And I look forward to having you on again to do some more magic. Maybe when I come up there one day, we can do some behind the scenes or something to show people.
You do some rituals.
I'd love
Let's
that.
go.
Do you have cauldrons?
Of course.
Wait,
I have
but
all the witch stuff.
Just quickly, what are the cauldrons for? Like, I understand having altars and putting your things on and designing it to manifest things, but what's the cauldrons for spells?
Well, a cauldron represents the womb.
It does?
Yeah. You just made a baby inside of your cauldron, right? You just literally in a watery sack.
Yeah.
You brewed blood and cells and tissues, and it grew and manifested into a beautiful human girl.
So what do you put in the cauldron?
It depends.
Hopefully not blood and fucking bones.
No. I mean, I do a lot of blood magic with moon blood. I do a lot.
What's moon blood?
Your period, your menstrual blood, because it is the literal liquid of creation.
Coming out of you.
It's coming out of you, and that's the blood that becomes your baby. That's why our periods stop when we're pregnant.
Okay, wait. So carry on. So what else do you put
magic.
in? What so you mix anything?
Well, I blood magic usually is just like me and the earth. That's more about, again, that shedding energy, right? Like you didn't become pregnant, so that's the energy of what you're letting go of and what you're releasing. So it's more like, okay, who was the version of me that I was this month? Did I deal with my trauma? Did I respond the way that I want to? Did I show up as the queen or the woman that I'm becoming? And if not, okay, I'm shedding that and letting it go. I'm releasing it. But the cauldrons are more, to me, it's more metaphorical. But of course, you can put your teas and your simmer pots and your potpourris and, you know, herbs and plants used to be our only medicine. That was what everyone relied upon before the pharmaceutical industry took over, like only 100 years ago. And so the cauldron was about making medicine and what you're creating, what intention you have with this herbal brew or potion.
And then do you drink it, or do you just watch
you drink it. You can put it in a bath. You can make, you know, you can make skin. Like I make a lot of my own skin products, my own hair products. You can do anything. The possibilities are endless.
Wow.
And obviously, because water holds memory, which I know you know, you can put in any
Energy.
That's the casting of the spell, really. It's like, oh,
words.
I'm put not just the words, but also the intention. Oh, I'm gonna make, you know, a healing balm for my nipples because my baby is biting on them, and this is gonna be sweetness and luxury and nourishment and connection and safety in my body, right? You can channel and transmit absolutely anything into the water and it will hold it for you.
So powerful. Oh my goodness. I want to try a spell.
Yeah,
I love it.
we're gonna do some
you
witch
love
shit.
spells?
I do love spells, but I do them, my whole spell experience is very different than everyone else. Like my love spells are about working on, again, that energy of if I'm calling in a masculine partner, what do I need to work on in my masculine side as opposed to like any, I don't
get it.
No black magic. We don't do any magic that has to do with any other person. It's only ever about yourself. And you know, people will be like, oh, so-and-so's casting black magic on me. And I'm like, no, that's not possible. No one can cast black magic on you without your consent because you are God and you are the creator.
Oh my God, I had
of
to
your
go cut the
experience.
cord recently of like some people and energies that I felt like were trying to cut, and I'm like, no,
They can't do that without your consent. And then you have the opportunity to look at, again, going back to that inner child stuff, where am I creating negative energy for myself that I'm then projecting outwards as if it could come from another person. Like there is nothing outside of me. I am everything. So if I believe that black magic is coming towards me, let me look at how I'm speaking to myself, how I'm treating my inner child.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's
all about me.
Yeah, it always is. So that's how I do my love spells. That's why my work as a witch is very different than a lot of other people. Like I don't do magic that has anything to do with any other people because that's black magic. But you are the creator, so you can create anything within yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
As within, so without.
That's right.
As above, so below. Love it, girl. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'll see you next week.